The Carolina Panthers are finally moving to fix the massive hole that has haunted this offense since Greg Olsen hung up his cleats in Charlotte. I am hearing serious rumblings from inside the building that Dan Morgan is looking at a specific veteran to stabilize Bryce Young's development before it is too late. This is not just another depth move. We are talking about a legitimate security blanket that can change the entire dynamic of the passing game. Before I break down exactly who this target is and what it costs, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because things are moving fast here in Carolina. You do not want to miss our next update. Cole Kmet is the name circulating as the premier trade target for the Carolina Panthers, according to recent high-level analysis and insider whispers from Ralph Vacchiano. This is a massive development because Kmet represents everything this offense has lacked for nearly a decade. He is a $50 million veteran with a proven track record of being a reliable TE1 in this league. Last season alone, he hauled in 73 catches and found the end zone 6 times, which are numbers no tight end in Carolina has even sniffed recently. The proposal involves sending a 2026 fourth-round pick and a conditional 2027 sixth-rounder to Chicago in exchange for the star. This would be a total game-changer for the Panthers front office because it solves 2 problems at once. Not only is Kmet a threat in the air, but he is also an elite run blocker with a staggering PFF grade of 80.7. Think about what that does for our struggling offensive line in the run game. He is a true wide tight end who can stay on the field for all 3 downs without being a liability. The Bears might actually be willing to listen to this offer because they have younger talent like Colston Loveland emerging on their radar, making Kmet potentially expendable for the right price. For Carolina, this is an aggressive play to ensure their young quarterback actually has a chance to succeed in year 2. We have seen what happens when Bryce is left without a safety valve, and the results were painful to watch last season. Adding a guy like Kmet gives the coaching staff a player they can trust in the red zone and on third and short situations where the offense previously stalled out completely. But this move is about more than just the tight end room. It affects how the team will handle the upcoming draft and their overall strategy for building around their franchise cornerstone. The real question is how this trade specifically unlocks the potential of the most important player on the roster, and whether the price is right for a team that needs to keep its future assets. There is a specific reason why Bryce Young needs this exact player right now, and the internal data shows that this connection could be the spark that finally ignites the entire Carolina offense this fall. Do you think Cole Kmet is the missing piece to save Bryce Young's career in Carolina? Drop a comment right now and tell me if you would give up those draft picks for a veteran tight end. We need to know what the fans think about this massive potential move. Bryce Young is entering a critical make-or-break second season, and the front office knows they cannot afford to let him flounder without proper support. For a young quarterback who excels at processing and finding the open man over the middle, having a best friend at tight end is not a luxury. It is a necessity. If the Panthers manage to land Cole Kmet, it completely changes the math for Bryce on every single snap. Kmet is the type of player who wins the 50-50 balls and understands how to find the soft spots in zone coverage, which is exactly where Bryce needs to gain confidence. When you look at the successful young quarterbacks in the league, they almost always have that reliable veteran target who acts as a pressure release valve. Without that, Bryce was forced to hold the ball too long last year, leading to unnecessary sacks and turnovers. By bringing in Kmet, the Panthers are essentially buying insurance for their number 1 overall pick. This also has a massive ripple effect on the rest of the roster construction. If Dan Morgan secures Kmet via trade, it frees up the 19th overall pick to be used on a high-end wide receiver or defensive help instead of reaching for a rookie tight end who might take 3 years to develop. We are looking at names like Trey Harris or other elite weapons who could join a receiving core that suddenly looks much more dangerous with Kmet pulling gravity in the middle of the field. Internal sources suggest that the coaching staff is desperate for a player who can block at the point of attack, while also being a threat in the vertical passing game. Kmet's versatility would allow Dave Canales to run his system with the creativity we saw in Tampa Bay. This is about creating an environment where Bryce Young can finally breathe and play the point guard style of football that made him a legend at Alabama. The synergy between a veteran like Kmet and a young technician like Bryce could be the most important partnership in the building since the days of Cam Newton and Greg Olsen. But making this trade happen requires a delicate balance of cap space and future planning that the front office is currently debating behind closed doors as the season approaches. Looking at the bigger picture, this move is a clear signal that the Carolina Panthers are done waiting for internal development at positions of desperate need. Ever since Greg Olsen left in 2015, the tight end spot has been a revolving door of mediocrity that has hampered every offensive coordinator who has passed through Charlotte. By targeting Cole Kmet, Dan Morgan is signaling a shift toward aggressive, veteran-led roster building. This is a move that a general manager makes when he knows the window to prove Bryce Young is the guy is closing fast. The impact on the locker room would be immediate. Bringing in a $50 million veteran shows the current players that the organization is serious about winning now, not just rebuilding for 5 years down the line. From a tactical standpoint, Kmet's 80.7 PFF run blocking grade is perhaps the most underrated part of this entire rumor. The Panthers struggled to establish any identity on the ground last year, which put even more pressure on the passing game. A tight end who can move defenders at the line of scrimmage allows the offensive line to breathe and gives the running backs a fighting chance. If this trade goes through, expect the Panthers to be much more efficient in the red zone, an area where they were historically bad last season. Looking forward, the acquisition of Kmet would likely mean the end of the line for some of the current project tight ends on the roster who haven't panned out. It sets a new standard for the position in Carolina. This is the kind of savvy move that successful franchises like the Chiefs or Eagles make, identifying a veteran on a team with surplus talent and pouncing before the market resets. If the Panthers can pull this off without giving up a first or second round pick, it will be viewed as a massive win for the new regime. It provides a bridge to the future while solving a decade-long problem in one stroke. The next few weeks will be telling as the Bears finalize their own roster plans, but the Panthers are clearly positioned to strike if the door opens. The future of the offense depends on these kinds of calculated risks to support their young quarterback. At the end of the day, trading for Cole Kmet isn't just about adding a player. It's about changing the culture and trajectory of the Carolina Panthers. This move would signify that the front office finally understands the gravity of Bryce Young's situation and is willing to invest real capital to protect their investment. For too long, this team has tried to patch holes with late-round picks and cast-offs, and the results have been a stagnant offense and frustrated fans. Bringing in a legitimate TE1 like Kmet provides the safety, the toughness, and the production that has been missing since 2015. It sends a message to the entire NFL that Carolina is no longer content with being the league's basement dweller. It tells the fans that the same old Panthers era is over and a new, more clinical approach to roster building has arrived. If Bryce Young has a veteran target he can trust on every third down, his completion percentage will rise, his interceptions will fall, and his confidence will soar. That is the ultimate goal here. This trade could be the difference between another losing season and a surprising playoff push in a wide-open NFC South. It is the type of move that defines a general manager's legacy and determines whether a young quarterback becomes a star or a bust. We are at a crossroads in Charlotte, and the decision to go after a player like Kmet could be the spark that finally brings winning football back to Bank of America Stadium. The fans deserve a team that competes, and Bryce Young deserves a fair chance to show why he was the top pick. Now, I want to hear from you one last time. Is Cole Kmet worth a fourth-round pick to save this offense, or should we keep the picks and try to draft the next great tight end? This is a massive turning point for our franchise, and your voice matters in this debate. Make sure you like this video if you want to see the Panthers get aggressive this season, and subscribe so you are the first to know when the official news breaks. We are covering every move, every rumor, and every locker room secret right here. Keep pounding, Panthers fans, because big things are finally happening in the Queen City.